Hi, everybody. I'm Joel Simmons for another 2-minute Turf Talk. I recently had the great pleasure of interviewing for the EarthWorks Podcast Mr. Bryant Mason. He is the president of Soil Doctor Consulting, and we were talking about composting and about nitrification. And one of the things that we were talking about is how if we use too much carbon, we can actually take the nitrification cycle backwards. Take a look at this chart. You can see in most fertility cycles, we're putting down a lot of nitrogen. Microbes have to break that nitrogen down into plant usable form, nitrate. But if we put down too much raw carbon, now the microbes have to go after the carbon and actually turn nitrification backwards and can pull nitrogen out of the soil. Take a listen to the clip, and I encourage you to listen to the EarthWorks podcast with Bryant Mason.
How do you know compost is ready?
Yeah, that's a great answer. So compost is obviously has so many different purposes that you can test the chemistry of it. You can test the biology of it. How I would look at it at that period of time, I wasn't using a microscope. I wasn't doing any biological assays. I was just looking at the chemistry. And so I would get a full digest of the compost. I would look at the carbon and nitrogen ratio first and foremost. Because if the carbon and nitrogen ratio is too high, it can actually immobilize nitrogen for a period of time. As you know.
Shut it right down. Yeah,
exactly. And I made that mistake plenty of times, putting a high wood compost where you can see the wood chips, but it smells good. It looks good. You put it in the soil, and then all of a sudden your plants are nitrogen deficient.
I tell a story often when I speak. I was working with a golf course superintendent. I came to a shop, and he had this big bin full of what he thought was the greatest stuff in the world. I said, "What is this?" He goes, "Oh, that stuff's great." And I said, "Why?" He goes, "It's cheap." And I'm looking at it, and it had that distinctive odor of sludge, human waste. And if you look at it really close, there was pieces of it the size of your pinky that were wood chips, and it was loaded with these little wood chips. And it was human sludge blended in with ground up wood pellets. And I said, "What are you going to do with these?" "I'm going to put it everywhere." I said, "Please don't do that." So he was adamant about wanting to do this. So I said, "Look, take that material and just put it out on one. This is a golf course, so put it out on one fairway and just watch it for a week or so." And I came back about a month later, and I was there specifically because I wanted to see that stretch of grass. And he drove me all around the property and didn't come near that fairway, which is why I'm there. And finally, we get up on a ridge, and I looked down at it, and I looked at that one stretch, and it was as yellow as this yellow pad of paper here. And and it's nitrification in reverse, right? It's taking instead of the microbes going after the nitrogen and breaking it down, now they're going after the carbon to break it down, and they're having to utilize whatever available nitrogen is there.